narratives. So it's like,
Mm.
it's fascinating. Angela, would you like to introduce yourself next?
Yeah, Angela. Actually, it's really interesting hearing people talk about, you know, how their practice changes over the years and how it flows from one thing to another. So I think a lot of my work started when I was an apprentice engineer, which was like 1978, 1979, and a lot of the things that I do are very craft based. They're very much about, you know, interpreting drawings, making full scale sketches, a lot of cutting and soldering. So when I'm not 9 to 5 in the office, I do things with glass mainly. Panels, I paint on glass, you know, the traditional method with the black on coloured glass. A lot of it's you know, assembling, cutting, drawing, and I think a lot of that comes from, you know, when I was in engineering, and it's something that's always appealed to me. I always have that feeling about how you get your eye in. I don't know if you find that in your practice, but I'm from Northampton originally, and I learned how to make lace and knitting from my grandma. But it's always quite fascinating to get over the frustrating stage of when things don't quite come out the way that you want them to, or look quite the way that you want them to. And I remember when I first started doing the glass work, you know, you cut something and it wouldn't cut straight, or it would break in the wrong place, or you'd put it in the kiln and it would all bubble up, or something you'd spent like 2 hours preparing would just be like, split down the middle. And I just love that feeling of, you know, when you actually commit enough time and effort and work to something, that it does become easier, and things do cut straight, and you can run the cutter along a piece of glass and you, that's a good cut. You know, you get a nice feel about, you know, how something's coming together. And it's the same when you put the pieces of glass together. I remember when I first started, you have to sort of, you have all your separate pieces of glass and they're painted and they're all ready, and then you have to sort of cut the lead to sort of fit it all together. And sometimes at the beginning, it just, the number of times you had to sort of take the whole thing apart again and then recut all the lead and put it back together again. And I just find that really, it's really interesting, and having to get over that hump.
I think it happens to us all, though. I think that sort of thing, and I think that is part of the whole making process.
It's
learning.
No, definitely. And I think
and it's a journey too.
Definitely.
Learning the journey.
Because the journey thing is kind of similar, because I unfortunately I don't have any connections with Margate, which I feel really bad about, and it's somewhere that's now on my list for when the lockdown lifts. I think I've been a couple of times. There was a guy that used to run a jazz club in London called Dave Trevina, and he had a lovely club in Stoke Newington. And then he retired and moved down to Margate, and he actually opened another jazz club. I think it was kind of, I can't even remember geographically where it was, but it was kind of like on the front near where the huts are that sell the sea fish and things. So I've been down a couple of times to see things at his venue, but that was quite a long time ago.
That's great, because I invited her to one because like her glasswork and stuff is like really, really phenomenal, and I've also seen her do like really they're like printing different things. And from her background in engineering as well, I find it fascinating that kind of engineering, kind of like quite industrial practices, especially things that are like very there's still, I think, that idea that they're not necessarily associated with women, or you don't have many of those stories. So I think that's fascinating. And then that kind of very, you know, technical practice and things, and then within the craft and things and making, I think it's always a fascinating story.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of parallels between it, and I think this thing about moving to different places as well. I mean, I've lived in a number of places. I left Northampton a long time ago. I lived in Cornwall for a while, and then London, Watford, and you do the same. I've found that I do the same when I move to a new place. I feel I've got to kind of embed myself in it, and so a lot of that's through walking. And you know, I start out and I just do sort of small walks around the streets, and then gradually start to walk out further and further, and just beginning to feel that you actually belong somewhere. So I actually live in Leighton Buzzard now, which is sort of Bedfordshire area. It's very nice. It's on the North Chalk Downs. It's a good place to be. But and I'm still I've been here a couple of years, but I'm still kind of learning the area and seeing which bits flood, and I've had regular walks as well. And in lockdown I just did the same walk again and again and again, and it was just fascinating watching the way everything changed over the year, you know, with a really loud bird song early in the year, and the last sort of few weeks with everything being flooded. There's bits I haven't even been able to go through because the water's so deep. And it's been interesting to just watch an area in one place over a period of time.
Yeah,